Coming to you live.
Yes, live.
Welcome to the Ref Room.
Hockey talk for parents, players, coaches, and fans.
Text everyone you know. Facebook, chat, tweet, buzz, bling. I don't know. Just do what you have to do.
This is the Ref Room with Scott and Brad.
Come on, come on, come on. It's about to go down.
The Ref Room starts right now.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the new year. Hope you guys had a great kickoff to 2021. My man Brad joins us. We are off to a great start because we had Miracle on Ice number 2 last night. So I know everybody's excited because that's certainly the highlight so far of 2021 and plenty more to come, I hope. And how you doing, my friend? What's going on?
Nah, really good, Scott. Not much. I was up watching the game, and it was exciting, to say the least. You know, once we watched that first game, which you and me both watched, and you know,
I was scared. I got to tell you, that was like
the comment you made was they were flat, correct? I believe that's what you said.
Yes,
in that game, and you know, they continue to get better each game that they played, and you know, last night one thing that I noticed is, if you watch when Canada cleared it out to the neutral zone, the defensemen on the U.S. were so dominant, they can move the puck backwards and work together as the offense came back and regrouped. It was very difficult for Canada to move down the ice unless they rushed. They weren't able to use that, dump and chase out into the neutral zone. And I think that kind of stunned them a little bit because, on paper, that team was much, much better talent-wise.
Oh, big time. I mean, to have a shutout, this is the first shutout that the USA has ever had in its history in a medal round game. And it's the first time I think Canada has ever been shut out in a medal round game. So, I mean, it just speaks volumes. I am so impressed with the way those guys played. Unfortunately, I only got to see the last 8 minutes of the game because I went to a suburb last night to observe a practice. So I didn't get back till like 8 minutes left in the game, but I enjoyed that last 8 minutes. And I'll tell you what, it had you on the edge of your seat because, Canada kept coming, and the U.S. just responded. The defense was tenacious last night. I mean, every time those guys down there, they just found a way to get it done and get the puck moved out or get it to the corner and take time off the clock. But I was really impressed. Like, I was really nervous when I saw the first game, and I said they looked really flat. But I wasn't really crazy even about Knight in goal against Finland. I just thought, man, I know this guy is supposed to be so highly regarded, but I just hadn't seen it at that point. But last night, he came to play, and, that's what big players do. They show up when you need them, and he had a great game because, I thought Wolf looked really good when he had his time in net, even in the first game, and the U.S. got back in it. But, I mean, last night, wow, that's all I can say. And I'm so excited for Turcotte, being a local Chicago guy. A lot of us think about this. These guys are 18 to 20 years old, probably. For all the guys that are level 3s and 4s that have been around for a number of years, and you've worked the Nike Bauer, CCM World Tournament, whatever, World Invite, whatever you want to call it this year, think about how many of these guys you probably have actually officiated a game for. There's a number of guys from Minnesota. Those teams were always at Nike Bauer. If you work Bantam Majors or, midgets, you probably saw some of these guys. As well as some of the other teams. I mean, there's a guy from Georgia, and when I think back, like what teams do we have down in Georgia that we see on a regular basis? Well, you had that southeast like all-star team, like a select team,
the all-star team.
Yeah,
they were red and black. I know who you're talking about.
They were so good. And, it was guys like from Florida, Georgia, like Arkansas, like places you never heard of that had hockey. And they got together. All they did was travel around and play. So they never practiced together. They got together on the weekend and they went to a tournament or whatever they needed to do to be successful. But I just find that to be so impressive. We've seen LA teams come in here with, the junior kings and things of that nature. And there's some great teams that come here and you just see the development. And then when you look at the roster and you see guys from California, from Florida, like, it's amazing. But I thought we had 2 guys from Chicago on that team. Maybe it's somebody that was born in Winnetka. I think there was somebody that was on the team. I don't know if they made the final roster, but I thought before when I saw, the roster earlier, like I'm talking a few months ago, that he was on there. So,
Scott, I think you're right, but the best part about this is we were just sitting there BSing, and then all of a sudden it's like, wasn't there 2 kids? And we're like, oh, by the way, we probably should get on now. So we didn't even have time to look for it yet. I mean, I could Google, but it looks kind of weird when I'm Googling and sitting here.
Trying to talk and Google. We need producers. If somebody wants to become the remote producer for the show, let us know. We'd love to have some volunteers.
Could you imagine that the first couple weeks, which I told you I watched last week, watched a couple of them, and just the difference in like the layout of the screen and, like the colors and stuff like that is just absolutely amazing. Could you imagine throwing a third person in here?
It's come a long way. Yeah, we could use a third. We could use a remote person and maybe another co-host with us that rotates in. We've had some people that have contributed, so I got to thank some of the people that have contributed,
Yeah.
like doing the videos and stuff. Like Scott Gaffney's done that for us, and
Brett,
Brett's
Brett
done it. So
Straley.
yeah, I mean, and all the guests that we had over the last year. I mean, we've had some just incredible guests on the show, and I want to thank them for their participation. But even more than that, thanks to all you guys that check in every week. And this is, it's your show, guys. So if you've got topics you want to discuss, you have a guest that you think we should have on, please hit us up. I mean, we all do the same thing. We love to talk hockey, and I'm sure some of you guys have some great ideas out there that or some guests that you think we should have on. I mean, my gosh, we got an NHL player on the on this show this year, and he doesn't do any kind of podcast show. I mean, he was like point blank, I don't do that stuff,
I
Mike
haven't
Brown
seen him
showed
anywhere
up,
else.
man. Well, I see him on my Facebook from time to time, and oh man, the guy's a beast. I mean, he is doing these Zoom Zoom training sessions, and he charges you like $5. Have you ever seen this? Like, he's got a couple pictures up there with his shirt off, which is, I'm not going there, but the dude is ripped, okay? I would not want to be on the receiving end of one of his blows when he was a younger guy, okay? Even at his age now, and he's still a young guy, but, he's just a beast. If you want to get in shape, check out his Zoom things for $5. I mean, what a great way to get back in shape. Brad, I might even sponsor one for you, buddy, just to get you off the couch.
Thank you. Well, you know what's funny, Scott, is that you point out that Brown's in shape and all that, and the one thing that if you ever talk to even the guys in the NHL that you would consider goons, they'll tell you learn how to skate, because all of them can skate, even though they may be the slowest guy on the ice when you watch them, and they're a goon, right? They can still skate though, and their skating might not have been as good. But, they were still able to catch a lot of people out there and beat the snot out of them. So
that's right.
I mean, if you can't catch them, you're not going to be able to beat them up.
But I can catch you, okay? And I can still get there to beat the crap out of you when you try to run.
Exactly. So. Exactly. I just want to point out, Scott, over there in the comments, Gary Pottishman noticed my haircut.
Yeah, I'll put that
this
up.
morning. So it's just...
Very observant, Gary. Thank you. Love the new hairstyle. And he doesn't have the hat on today, so it kind of emphasizes that he has the new do.
You should have seen how long. When I got my haircut last night, the woman that did it was like, "When's the last time that you got your haircut?" And I'm like, "You know what? Honestly, I don't know." She's like, "Okay." She cut it off, and she's like, "Okay, well, there was a person under there." I'm like, "Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Only met you the second time ever, but
yeah."
Apparently,
I
it goes
like
a long
7
way.
or 8 weeks, which I never do. I'm usually good for 4 to 5 weeks. That's it. But it's like we're not going anywhere. Just sitting in the house, right? So might as well just let it go. A few other things that I wanted to talk about with regard to the U.S. game. I mean, first of all, I thought it was very cool that they honored the Humboldt Broncos last night by having that blanket in the stands. You know, that tragedy that happened, is it 2 years ago now, I believe? And,
it might be 3. It's been a while already.
Now? Really? Yeah.
Time flies when we're having fun.
Yeah. We're having so much fun, right? Yeah. But, I thought that was a cool tribute. And, I saw a comment, on one of our pages today from one of the Canadians that just thought we were poor sports. Did you see poor sportsmanship last night in the game afterwards? I mean, I saw a celebration. I didn't, I don't think you can go embracing people right now under the circumstances with other teams. I mean, they're in a bubble of some sort. But, even if you have a practice here, and you practice against the other players, they don't go shake hands now. It's just kind of the way it is. I mean, things have changed. I don't want to call it the new normal, but yeah, it's a little different. So that may have had something to do with it.
I was wondering, because, they were celebrating afterwards, and during the celebration, for once, which is not normal, you could hear the players.
Yeah.
You can hear all their comments. And, as I'm watching it, it's the NHL network and it's on cable. they're going to get away with it. Nobody's really going to care that much, especially from the hockey community, because
they hear it all the time.
Right. Well, we've skated up and down the ice, and a nice player, will come by and be like, "What the F is your problem?" And that's just how he talks. It has nothing to do with him being upset or anything. But, these guys are 20, and a little bit younger, and they're swearing up a storm while they're celebrating. And I could see that to where people might be taking that as it was poor sportsmanship as well. But if that building was full, we wouldn't have heard any of that. We would have just heard cheers.
You're right.
Right.
You're right.
So, it's a really weird, interesting time, because even when they were celebrating and, Canada was getting their medals and all that, I'm thinking to myself, I couldn't imagine being a parent of one of those kids, and they're playing in the World Junior.
Is going to be, this is what you said.
And nobody, and you're not able to see your kid get that medal. I mean, they only give out so many of those a year, and your kid just got it. And that's a life achievement at a very young age. Could you imagine that? That's something that you could walk into someplace, especially in Canada, and go, I was on the 2020 U.S. Olympic junior team and we won the gold medal. People are going to know that, even though they might not know you 100%. But it's still a very big achievement. It's something in life that you worked hard for.
This is a life history moment for these kids that will be with them forever. I mean, this will be talked about. This win, this series will be talked about in history for generations to come, just like the Miracle on Ice. Maybe not to that degree, but they have etched their place in history forever. So whether they make it to the NHL, and some of the Caulfield, he's got University of Wisconsin, NHL.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what a career some of these guys are going to have. How many of these guys are drafted to go play in the NHL already? Most of them. I mean, it's going to be incredible to see some of these guys. Zegras or whatever. That kid is going to be a superstar. I mean, I have no doubt that these guys will do very well. And I mean, the only one I can actually say that I've seen several times before this would be Turcotte. And Turcotte, as a 14-year-old, that kid carried himself like a captain. He was totally different, a different respect level, a different way of dealing with people. You could just see that this guy was groomed for this sort of thing. And then to see them come to life, 4 or 5 years later and they've got a gold medal. I mean, it's just the start of what's going to be a wonderful career for these guys. And it's all from hockey. And again, we've talked about this on the show many times. And, people develop from youth hockey and they develop as young kids. And that's why it's so important that these guys are able to get together and play and learn and develop the life skills that are going to take them to this kind of a level. So I'm so impressed. I'm super excited for them. And, Canada, we love Team Canada. We still do. I don't care. We're all Americans. We love the sport. We love hockey. We love what they bring to the game. And it just makes it that much better. I'm glad it was, that Canada that we could go up against in that situation. I mean, they did well. They beat Russia to get there. They did a great job. They're a great team, and those guys are going to have tremendous careers. Just wasn't their night.
Well, Scott, I was talking with, it's funny. Let's me 2 points real quick. Number one is Mr. Turcotte there. I'm on a group text with quite a few local officials, and, we all referee, and, all of us were, that kid since, a young age has been very impressive on the ice. He's a nice kid in general.
Yeah.
He's always the standout player.
Absolutely.
But he's a nice guy on the ice as well, which, for the amount of referees that are in there and the games that we see and, the things that you go through for all of us to unanimously say, hey, this is a nice kid on top of it. That's not me patting ourselves on the back. That's me patting him saying, it's noticeable. It's not that he's just out there.
He comes from a good family. He comes from a good hockey family. The Turcottes have been around for years. There's a number of them there, and they do a great job. I think most of them are involved with the Glenview program, if I'm not mistaken. But it's an awesome family. They're, if you've reffed any of their games, even at the lower levels, they're good people. They
Mhm.
develop their players, they teach them well, and you can see the skills that they bring to the table that are taught and passed down to these other kids on the team, because you can see how they move the puck. You could see how they stick handle. You could see how they skate. You could just see it, I mean, so, kudos to them and congratulations. I couldn't be happier for you.
Yep. And then the other thing is, we're all excited and all that about the win, which is great. But if Canada would have scored that goal that rung off the goalpost, we might have had a very different game,
Yeah.
moving forward, because that would have tied the game up there 1-1, and or I believe that was to get them to 1-1, and it would have been a different game.
Yeah.
Watching it, so luck be have it, a lady.
I'd
and
rather
once
be
in a while,
lucky than
you get
good.
lucky.
I know, as any goalie,
Right.
that's what they'll tell you. I'd rather be lucky than good. When they ring off the post, they're not even a shot on goal.
Well,
Even though
Knight played good last night.
Yeah.
The defense also collapses very well in front of the net. They helped him out. A couple times. There was one where both defensemen ended up basically on the ground in front of him, and his stick came up and clanged off the crossbar.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, I'm like, they're going to score on their own goalie by falling on the puck, but he was able to find it every time. And, the play stopped. So it was good to watch. It was interesting.
He came up big in the big game, and that's all you can ever ask for. That's what you want to see in top players. That's what they do. They shine in those situations. Look at how many times Crosby has come out of nowhere and just won a game, or, I mean, in the Olympic game a number of years back, obviously, but was it against USA? He got the overtime goal or whatever to win the game, and you just know it's going to be somebody like that rises to the occasion. So pretty cool stuff. We got a lot of comments coming, so I want to get to those, but there's one other point I wanted to make before we do that. And you were talking about passing out the medals and the conversation, but I thought it was so cool last night to see the captains handing out the medals rather than somebody you don't know. And I think it was even interesting if it was the general manager of the team that was out there, but you could see the players really wanted to get the medal from the captain more than they did from the general manager. And, you could see the hugs and you could just see the emotion. And I think that's something that they should look at keeping rather than, having some diplomat come out there and hand out the medals that means nothing. It's like, here's your medal. I don't know who you are. Have a nice day. But, when the captain gives you the embrace and you could just see what they, that they're a team. And I love that.
Right.
I thought that was so cool. And I think that is definitely something that should, be looked at in future, even at the Stanley Cup level. I mean, you have the captain that hands out the trophy to his team. He passes it off to whoever he wants, and then they go down the row. But at least for the Olympics, that's a cool thing. They should keep it.
Yeah, I thought that was really good. And Scott, like you said, it shows that they're a team. Well, the interesting part is, these guys, they're kids, they're young adults. Guys, young adults. The one thing is, they play together right now, but as they're moving up, if you're 17 years old, you're playing against each other the whole way.
Yeah.
So it really shows the commitment to how much they're wanting to play for their country and, for each other, even though they might be sporting different jerseys next weekend. But they were there, and they all came together from both sides. And it's kind of interesting to see how much they care and the achievement that they have, because, being Canada's captain, it was definitely not easy for him to do it, but he handed those medals out, and he was happy until he was done. And that showed great composure and great,
it's
a great
class.
talent
It's just
to
class
control
and
himself.
sportsmanship and everything else that goes with it. And I know it was hard on a lot of those players. You could just see their faces. As a matter of fact, let's see if I can bring this up. Give me 1 second here.
Well, it's tough. I mean, I think everybody's been on the losing side of a game, whether or not it's, at that level. So for a captain, especially that, is now going, I rang it off the post. I wish I could have done this a little better. He's blaming himself, but yet he was able to keep it together in order to congratulate his team. And then, if you saw it at the end, he broke down a little bit too. And it's harder to watch, as an adult that has kids too. I'm thinking to myself, man, again, there's my parents, their parents aren't there, and at that moment, all they want to do is look up and see, their mom or their dad.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, I don't care who you are. You could be a 70-year-old man, anytime you feel bad, you can look at your parents and feel better. And, they were deprived that. And I get that we're in a pandemic and all that, but it's difficult to go through something that emotional. And basically, you have your friends there, but sometimes a lot of men will be able to tell you this. It's tough to even look at your friends at that point. Yeah. You kind of want to escape for a second. So thought I'd throw that out there.
On the other side of that coin, in a day or two when they're back home with their families, they're going to be very proud to have that silver medal, and they should be proud.
Right.
They're all winners, and it's an accomplishment that they will, cherish for life. I don't care if it's silver medal, gold medal, whatever the case may be. And let's just see if we can hit this and relive this.
The United States wins the World Junior Hockey Championship.
You can just see it there.
The United States wins the World Junior Hockey
Yeah, it's a loop, guys. I didn't loop it, but that's the way it is. That's what TSN put up. So, but it's the thrill of victory and certainly the agony of defeat. So, we'll steal that from way back in the day. Let's look at some of the comments. I wanted to go back to that, so let's bring up some of the comments. First of all, everybody that's joining us, we'd like to welcome you. Hello to William and Marty, Gary. Jack Raz has joined us. Jack has been on the show a number of times, and I do want to throw something out there. We're going to look at his comment. There was a barrel with the Canadian logo on the ice during the celebration. I don't know if I saw that.
I missed it.
Yeah, I didn't see
that. I was wondering
either.
when it came up. I totally missed that. So,
yeah,
if you can clarify with us, Jack, on that.
But I do want to add something, too, while we're on the subject with Jack, because he's looking for volunteers to officiate a charity practice that benefits the Chicago Blackhawks special hockey program on February 19th and 20th, outdoors at Rosemont. So if you're interested in helping volunteer, please reach out to Jack. You guys know Jack, and you know how to get a hold of him. If you don't, get a hold of one of us, and we'll put you in touch with them. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
And I'll take advantage of that. I'll take advantage of that real quick, since Jack, I haven't responded back to the Facebook reach out, and I haven't called you or texted you. Let me know what's going on. If you need some help, I'll come out and help out. So
absolutely.
Just so you know, I planned on calling you yesterday, and my wife asked me about it last night before she was going to bed. It was about 11:30, and I'm like, I don't think Jack wants me to call him now, but I could. And she's like, nah, just call him. Yeah. Call him sometime tomorrow. But since you brought it up, there you go.
So Michael Novak said it looked like a trash barrel. I don't know what I didn't see that. I'm gonna have to look for that. I'm gonna have to go back. I've got the recording of the game. So
I'll look.
Yeah, Chris says he's here. So hi, Chris. How are you? Let's see. We've got great victory for Team USA. Congratulations to them. Poor sportsmanship by my fellow countrymen. I don't.
That's a name I don't recognize.
Yeah, but I think that might be one of our Canadian friends that we know. I'm thinking so. I'm not positive on that, but there was a comment on our Facebook earlier today. Again, I didn't see where was the poor sportsmanship. Was it excessive celebration? I don't know. I had a practice the other day that I actually had to observe and ding someone for an excessive celebration. I've never done that before, especially in a practice. But that was interesting. Okay, let's see. We got I don't know who the face. If you guys are in on the group, I tell you this every week. If you come in from the Facebook page or if you come in from YouTube, we'll be able to see and say hello to you. But if you come in through the group, then you're anonymous with the Facebook and everything else like you're seeing there. Chris says, well, USA wasn't expected to win, right? I mean, Canada was stacked. It's historic. It is. It's secondly, probably a second miracle on ice from that comparison when you look at the talent levels of what they had. But the U.S. has great players. I mean, all these guys are going to the NHL. There's talent there. Look at the commitment from Caulfield. He's got Wisconsin, NHL, and Team USA. And he makes the commitment. He commits, and he goes and he plays, and he does what he's supposed to do, and they get it done. You got to love that. That's the kind of players that, we are developing here, and that's what we want to see. So,
well, Scott, I got a little clarification here on the G machine.
Yeah.
So, the head coach of USA, added that the team took a selfie with the barrel after every win. Just to be transparent, it was a barrel on the ice with our team after the game. It was motivation for our team to take the tournament one game at a time.
Okay. Well,
So
thanks for clarifying that, because I got to look at the barrel. I don't know about the barrel. So if somebody has a photo of the barrel that you want to send over, so I can check it out, we'll go from there.
No, it was interesting that, I watched the whole celebration, and again, there was quite a few chattered texts from, hockey people about the game and all that going on. So I kind of missed it. Celebrations, it's great to watch, but, after the first couple minutes, you just want to hear the names, and, it's good to be there for it. So,
well, I kept the celebration on for a while. I kept it on till the game ended, and they went to the studio, and, of course, the announcers couldn't have been happier, which, rightfully so.
Speaking of going to the studio, last night I noticed, I don't know the gentleman's name. I should have caught it. The gentleman that had the shaved head last night in between periods. Did anybody catch his shoes? The other guys are wearing, dress shoes, and I could have sworn he was wearing like a pair of skateboard shoes or something with his suit. And I'm like,
if you watch the NBA or the NHL, not the NHL, the NBA, the NFL, I mean, some of these shoes are, $300, $400, $500, $1,200 a pair.
I'm
they
not
are
saying
now considered dress shoes, and they are appropriate because they are like collector, very hard to get. So I'm sure if he was wearing some kind of shoes like that, I don't think they were the everyday out of the washing machine gym shoes that you see. I mean, we even the coaches now, they wear Yeezys, okay, so that the players feel like they relate to them, and those you have to bid on, and they start at about $300. So. And they go up from there. So this is the fashion, Brad. I mean, you just got to get with the program, buddy. Your kids will be buying the Yeezys, and they'll want you to have them on too. So
actually, currently, my kids got shoes that light up that have to be plugged into a USB port. It's quite the thing, let me tell you. They're outside.
Santa Claus
you can
delivered
spot them from
those
a mile
down the
away.
chimney for you, or is that how that worked?
No, that was
from us. That was from you. Okay, very nice. So, all right. I hope you got a good fast charger for those shoes too.
But it's just funny.
Chris is checking in, and he says Turk out to LA Kings. Yeah, how cool is that? I mean, I'll just go back to the Gretzky days. It can't be any cooler than you get in your convertible car and you go to practice for hockey, because all these guys have grown up in the cold weather market. So now in January, they can put the top down and go to practice. So, yeah, going to LA, very nice. Going to be expensive there. They better pay him well, because housing is expensive. So I'm sure he'll get a good contract. Let's see what else we got. I think the missing crowd was an advantage for USA. Shows how much a crowd can swing momentum. That's a really good point. I don't know who put that up, because they're coming in from the group, but yeah, you're absolutely right. And, the crowd is kind of taken out of the game, and the crowd is kind of two-sided when they're doing these empty building events, because everything is piped in. So I think you make a very good point there, and that could have been a momentum swing.
Scott, I think that's an excellent point, and what's funny about it is I'll refer to something that is not my palate. But, soccer in Europe, they play something called aggregate games. Scott, are you familiar with that?
I am not.
Okay, so what happens is an aggregate game. It's a playoff that they have between two teams, and they play one home game and one home game, and that's it. There's no, if they one team wins in one stadium and the other team wins in the other stadium, it's tied 1-1, right? Yeah. So the way that they figure out the winner is goals that are scored on the road are 2 points compared to goals scored at home are 1 point, and they add those together, and the total of that is the winner of the series.
Okay.
So it's kind of interesting.
That's interesting.
I think it's just the sheer cost involved in putting on a soccer match, which we would call it, but it's still a football match in Europe.
Yeah.
In think of those stadiums, and then they're so in love with this game of football that they trash half the city afterwards. Yeah. So the police force has to be there. It's a very interesting thing out there, and it's something that we might not understand very well, but the crowd is a big factor, because a soccer field does not change. They're the same size no matter what. And it's pretty much a proven fact. It's harder to score a goal on the road playing football than it is to score in your home stadium. So I think not having a crowd there is a huge thing.
Yeah. Well, you always say it's, we always said it's an extra man. It's an extra person, on the ice for you when you've got the crowd. And I mean, you can even see it in a youth game when, back when we had people in the stands and you had games, you had lots of noise at some of the tournaments, and it makes a difference, it's like the old Chicago Stadium, which, now I'm starting to sound old, which I'm really not that old, but Brad,
the old Chicago Stadium was an amphitheater. Before that, they had the organ. It was over on the actual stage that they used to use. And, the referees, when they would come in, they would wear earplugs out on the ice for the national anthem because it was so loud in the building. And, they try to replicate it in the United Center. I'm sorry. You're never going to get that back. You're never going to get that sound back. It was something absolutely
smaller building and everything right on top of you. I mean, it was absolutely incredible. I was fortunate enough to be at the game that they had with right before the war, the one that they always show the anthem from. It was from the All-Star game weekend.
The All-Star game. Yep.
I was actually in the building for that, which was it was very cool. That's a lifetime memory for sure. And there goes.
I remember
I'm blowing up here, of course.
Of course, we skated there when I was a kid. I remember that because we happened to have somebody that did a lot of stuff for the Blackhawks. So we got to have a practice game there. And, the United Center, if anybody went there, I know quite a few people did. It smelled like urine, right? When you walked in
stadium?
there.
Oh,
because it was,
remember when they beat on the boards on the window? The windows were boarded up in the building, and they would beat that like the tomahawk. That's where the tomahawk drum came from, for those of you that are new schoolers that don't know about this sort of thing. Did you ever skate at the old stadium? I mean,
yeah. So once we got off the ice, though, there was a Xeroxed or whatever you want to call it, handwritten piece of paper, and it said, "When you arrive at home, please take out all your gear and wash." and everybody was like, "What is that?" Well, they used to have such a cockroach problem at that rink. They would come home in your bag, so they would warn everybody. So.
Wow.
You're never going to get that memory back. I remember going there with my dad, and they had season tickets in the second row of the balcony, and there used to be a guy, he would sit there, and every time Koharski would come out on the ice, he had this little referee, doll thing, stuffed guy, and he used to take it and hang it over the edge like it had hung itself. And he hated Koharski, and Koharski's a St. Louis guy, so.
Yeah.
He comes up from there, but it was always funny because same guy, he sat there all the time, every game, the same people. My dad and my uncles shared the tickets. Everybody around him was the same for years. And then they moved to the UC and it kind of changed. So
hockey was so different back then. I don't know if you're too young to remember even at the old stadium, but there was a time if you sat in what they called the club circle. So the club circle was what now would be considered the 100 level. You had to be dressed. You had to have like a jacket and tie.
Oh no, that was before my time.
Going back to the early 70s, and that's how it was. And they used to have a buffet dinner at the Swiss Chalet Room, which was at the what was the Wirtz Hotel, the Bismarck Hotel. So that's where Bismarck Catering came from.
That I know.
Now it's like Hotel Allegra, and it's changed to something else. But you'd get on a bus. So you'd go down there, you'd park at the hotel, and then you'd get on the bus and they'd take you to the stadium and then they'd bring you back. But there was one night we missed that bus. And I don't know if you remember the early 70s, but before the West Loop developed into a really nice place, it was also known as Skid Row. So there were no cabs coming to that area. It was not easy to get out of there at the end of the night if you missed the bus. So
I remember parking in those.
Yeah.
I remember parking in the 80s with my dad in the parking lots in the 90s.
Yeah.
And I remember him, always handing out dollar bills on the way to get the car because you couldn't get to the car.
Right.
And I'm not putting anybody down by it, but it was a very different neighborhood at the time.
No, you could get a personal valet for $5 that would watch your car, okay? and you wanted to pay the $5 personal valet to make sure your car was protected while you were at the game. So
Yeah.
there were a lot of things. It was a crazy time back then, and a crazy neighborhood.
Well, it's different.
Frankie is here. She's got to come say hello. She's setting all the
once
buttons.
they built the 911 call center, that's where that's when it started to change in that area. Then they put the high rises up.
Yeah,
and it's definitely a different neighborhood than when I was a kid, and it's a nice place. And
I lived there back in 1992. I lived in the West Loop. The people that developed Johnny's Ice House was, Annie and Lewis. They owned a number of buildings there, Annie Properties, and I lived in one of those buildings, Barb and I, for 2 years, and we just loved it. All kinds of cool people, but we were used to getting the car broken into like on the weekends, and because it was very desolate. You're in the Fulton Market area during the redevelopment, so it was very isolated, but it was a great spot. Met a lot of great people. A lot of very talented people in those buildings, and it was wonderful.
Well, speaking of that, it's funny because we're talking about the neighborhood. Did you see that Johnny's East is up for sale?
Yeah, and I don't know all the logistics to this. There's always been talk of possibly selling that off, but where I think the problem is going to lie, first of all, the sale, according to what I read in the paper, is that it cannot be used for an arena. So they're going to have to do something else. But if you've ever been to Johnny's East, there's a parking garage downstairs under the building, and it's limited parking, and there's a fence along the way. Well, Annie Properties own that building that would be to the, what would that be? The north. It's, I forget what the loft building is called, but they own the building to the north of Johnny's East.
Mm-hmm.
And that property, I believe all those parking spaces are either deeded out or owned by the people in that building that they made that the garage for that building. So I don't think you're going to have any chance of doing a lot there, because you're going to either have to buy all those people out, or you're going to have to pay them to be inconvenienced for a year or two while you build another property there, like a high rise, and then give them parking in that building. And it wouldn't be as convenient for them. So I don't see them, saying, oh yeah, we'd love to do that. I'd love to try to find street parking for 2 years in that neighborhood. And then I can go up 8 stories to my parking space after you build your high rise. I don't see that happening. So there's going to be a challenge there for what they can do with that building. But, I also see why, they don't want competition, because somebody will come in there, they would buy that rink, and probably some of the guys that skate there already would do it. And, then they're going to have to compete against them if they have the spot in the West Loop. So it's a tough one. The property's worth a lot of money, and I'm sure developers would love to have it. But, the elephant in the room is that parking downstairs.
No, I understand all that. I heard that same story from some gentlemen that skate there all the time. Yeah. Weird fact about that arena, though, and I found this out from a guy that worked on Zambonis. There's no way to get that Zamboni out. They have to crane that out of there.
They go to the alley. If you look at Johnny's East, there is like an elevated door above the. It's not the bench area. It's down towards the end, but it's like an elevated door, and they have to actually crane that thing.
Crane it out.
And not only that, when they got the new Zamboni there, and you go, new Zamboni, that thing's like 100 years old, the one that they got. It looks like it's from the 40s or something. But it's new for them. It's a remodel. But the problem was they have to get it with I forget if it's a right side dump or something, but trying to find the proper kind of dump to accommodate the size of the building, the area that they have to dump the snow. So it's one of the guys was telling me the story of that before, and I had no idea that was like the reason, like, why didn't you buy a little newer Zamboni? This thing looks like it's a, vintage antique piece of equipment. But that was the reason why. I was like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. So I'm sure, they probably had to keep the other Zamboni and probably have that thing overhauled so that if they ever have to bring it back in, because they won't be able to find another one that's got the dump to the right side for them to be able to, take care of their facility.
Well, if they sell the building, they won't need another Zamboni.
No, they won't.
No.
At that point,
they'll have cornered the marketplace with 2 of them.
Yeah, and that one will probably end up over at the other rink as the backup. So, they'll have a extra one.
Sitting in the parking lot.
In the parking
like
lot
we
downstairs.
we see so many Zambonis go to die.
Yep.
They just sit out there and
Look at Lake Forest College. Okay, that Zamboni that they parked over there for all those years. That is the Zamboni that they were using when I grew up playing there when I was a minor hawk. Okay, I'm going back to the early '70s. That was the Zamboni that was there.
Well, Bartlett High School owned a Zamboni back in the day. They used to take it out and take it into a parade or something, and it was green and black, like Bartlett was.
Yeah,
it's funny because I wish one of our buddies was on here right now because he can tell you all about it, because his dad was the president when they bought it, and everybody's like, well, that had to be really expensive. I think basically somebody was just getting rid of it and it barely ran.
Here's $50. Get it out of here, please.
And it sat outside an arena for a very long time. I'd actually like to know what happened to that Zamboni, because it's kind of an interesting story, because Bartlett no longer has a high school team. They merged
cool
with
to
somebody.
See a Zamboni going down the road. It does happen from time to time. Like if they have to get a repair or move it. I mean, I've seen them out in the parking lot at I think it was Vernon Hills at Glacier or whatever, and it was in the parking lot being driven. It's got to go somewhere. Maybe it's got to get brakes and new tires. I don't know, but crazy. Anyway, let's continue. We got a lot of comments, so let's check in. I think we already did this one, the missing crowd advantage.
Keep going.
Okay, and we looked at the sportsmanship. Okay, we're back to the trash can. The trash can was there during the team picture, which is what you said. Now, actually, one of the guys was kind enough to text me a picture of that. I've got to see if I can get that over on the system I can use to actually bring it up. I haven't had a chance to look at it, so thank you for the text on that, Brett. I will look at that in a second. Okay, what do we got here? Outdoor games are canceled. Are you referring to the NHL? Did they cancel? They were supposed to have a Boston-Philadelphia game or some others. Is that what you're referring to? I don't know who this is that posted this. If you could clarify it, we'd appreciate it.
Need to get everybody out onto the YouTube, Scott. Ref room.
Guys,
because then we can see who you are.
YouTube.com/C, which is for channel /ref room. And if you guys would come over there, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button, hit the like button, hit all the buttons with the thumbs up, okay? But that way you'll know when we're on. You'll get notification, and you'll be able to, see everything. The broadcast is really great over there. Not that it's not great on Facebook. We love it over here on Facebook too, but love to have you guys come join us on the YouTube channel. Just makes it better for everybody. And, we post all these. The replays go up automatically, so we post them up there. And if you'd like to help support the channel, we have some of our favorite equipment that we've listed below each of the show descriptions. So if you need that new whistle, please make a purchase from there. We do get a very small commission, about 42 cents, that we split two ways. By the way, Brad, I owe you for one whistle from last year, from 2021. From 2020, we have a gross revenue of 42 cents last year, which we will need to split. And then we're going to need to file the taxes on that and everything. So the postage, it will cost us money, like it does for doing this show. So if you guys could come on and do a purchase on there once in a while, a new whistle, we'd appreciate that 42-cent commission.
So there's a clarification down there in the comments. It's Mr. Steve Drews.
Okay.
And he's just letting everybody know that the Rosemont games are canceled.
Rosemont game. Is that the ones that we talked about for Jack, for the charity?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully they will get something together, and we love to give back to the game that we all love. So please update us on that if you can, Steve and Jack, and if we can help you guys with promoting that, we would be more than happy to. With that being said, let's see. So keep going here. Chris says Baumer always plans on calling back. Yeah. Okay.
This is what happens when you referee junior hockey with people.
Calls at the wrong time. If you need to get a hold of Brad, 2:00 in the morning is a great time to get a text message from him. That's usually when we communicate. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. I
know that you're home.
Yeah, exactly. That's it works.
I I know that you're up, so
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's an advantage.
I have nothing else to do. That's why. So. All right. Kofold and Turcotte are the only ones listed as signed. Oh, really? I didn't
see that,
realize
but-
that. Well, maybe. Okay. The others are all drafted. I guess they're in the system. I'm sure many of them will be signed. I hope. You know.
Well,
I wish
Kirby
that
Doc
for-
is signed.
Well, yeah. Zegras has got to be signed, isn't he? I can't
don't know.
imagine that he wouldn't.
Unfortunately,
if he
there's
isn't-
too many
if
players.
He isn't, I'm sure his agent is real busy right now accepting phone calls, okay, and looking at a lot of zeros being put in front of him. So I'm sure that that will be the case if that's not accurate.
Well, the NHL, you have to play a certain amount of years in order to sign a big contract, don't you, Scott? I believe so.
Yeah, I'm sure there's like
Zegras
league
is signed
minimums
with the
coming
Ducks.
in, but you know he's certainly going to get signed, and he's I don't know. Do they get bonus? Do they have signing bonuses for any of these guys? I mean, Lindros held out for so long. Did he get? I'm going back a number of years, but that's just a standout as one of the best players that we had at the time. And
I remember when he played.
He didn't want to go play for the team he was drafted for and everything else. I don't know. Was his first team the Flyers? I don't remember who he ended up going to for the first team because he moved around. He was in New York. He was in Philadelphia. Might have been in a couple of other stops.
He was in New York
too. It's
after
been a while.
Philly.
Okay, so maybe he held out to go to Philly. Where was he originally drafted? Does anybody remember that? Was he drafted? It was probably a Canadian team he didn't want to go to, I'm guessing, because...
The Nordiques.
Yeah, okay.
I'm looking at his Google right now.
Oh, you are?
There's
Okay.
Wikipedia.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. So
I'm pretty good at this computer thing every once in a while.
Nice. It's, good technology. Really appreciate that. All right, let's see. Brian's checking in. He says, good afternoon, boys, and good afternoon to you, Brian. Thanks for joining us, as always. Somebody said hi to Frankie. Well, Frankie is the star of the show, so we appreciate that. She is always here. She sits right underneath the desk with me most of the time, and then when she gets bored, she comes up and lets me know. So if you ever see something go haywire on the system here, it's because Frankie has jumped up and hit the keyboard and just changed everything. That's how we roll here. What's this one? Billy Baldwin.
That's who purchased the Bartlett Zamboni, which Mr. Green, I did know who it was. And, we've refereed with his son for a long time. If you skip down all the way to the most recent comments,
and he says
he clarifies
from all seasons.
Yep.
Okay.
And it may have made its way back to all seasons. There's two in the lot, which I could have swore they painted that thing green. So I don't think those are the ones, because the ones that are in the parking lot at all seasons, they kind of look like World War II tanks, the way that they're designed. So, and I definitely don't think those run. So
Michael says, good afternoon. Hey, Mike, thanks for checking in. Hope you're doing well. Happy New Year. Let's see what else we got here. Zegras is signed with the Ducks. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, that's a good pickup for them. They got a good quality player there. I'm sure he's going to help them. Speaking of that, the Ducks, we had Corey Perry, leaving the team for $750,000. Would have been nice to see like the Blackhawks get him. Chara goes out for, I think he went for $750,000 too. Geez, I'd have taken Chara for a year as a defenseman. We could use a defenseman back there of his skill level.
Is he being picked up though more for his leadership roles, or what he's going to do on the ice? Because the Hawks right now are pretty stacked in leadership roles.
Yeah,
you got Taze, you got Keith.
Taze is out indefinitely. I mean, okay, we got Kaner.
Well,
we got Duncan
Kane,
Keith.
I'm just saying.
Seabrook is. I don't know what the deal was there, but he shows up to practice and he's declared unfit. Somebody said it was because of the surgeries from the hips or whatever, that he's just not ready to go or whatever. I mean, I guess you have to show up, but I guess that's really not a surprise. Didn't really expect him to be making his way back, but we'll see. Hawks are going to have some challenges. I think the odds makers in Vegas, it's like 200 to 1 is what they said the other night on TV.
I got $1.
It was put your dollar up, make your donation. It's like buying a lottery ticket. You're not going to win, but give it to them anyway, Brad.
Hey, I got $1, and
Well, if we could get 3 whistles sold today, if we could sell 3 whistles, we could take our commission and we could put it on the Hawks for a 200-1. So there you go. What does Chris say? Chris says Duncan Keith is not a leader. I know I'm outnumbered here. You are. We'll never see him as a leader.
I think you're outnumbered.
He two-handed Carter in the head in the playoffs. It doesn't mean you're not a good guy in the locker room.
He doesn't like where he swung the stick at him.
Yeah, I know what that means.
He's still salty. One guy takes one bad penalty.
Yeah.
But all the years that he's out there, and automatically he's a murderer.
You certainly don't like to see that happen, and we've seen that with men's league teams where they do something that obviously everybody on the team regrets that they did that, and you're shocked, and you sit there and go, "Are you kidding me? Like, really?" But you got to have one or two of those guys on the team. If you don't have one, at least one on a team, you don't have a team. You got to have one guy that's just like out there.
Well, so the black. Oh, I'm just looking at the odds for the Blackhawks, and it's
what is it saying?
According to the spread,
odds are not good.
According to the spread, making more news, odds to win the conference are 250-1, and
wow.
The odds for the Cup Finals odds and 500-1. So, yeah, that's
let's get those couple whistle sales, guys, so we can put a dollar down.
I should buy one just so we can get it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's only costing you half. It's really only costing you 21 cents to do it because you're going to get your half back.
Well, I'll say this, before somebody goes in and goes, well, the odds are actually this, or where I don't do anything with sports betting, so I don't know the best place to look. That was a random Google search, so murder me if it's some sort of different odds. I don't know what else to say to you.
All right,
there's always somebody that's got more information, and I'm not a sports gambler. I'm not a gambler at all. So right. I don't understand gambling, to be honest with you.
I've got the picture of the trash can up. Okay, I was not aware of this, guys. I had no idea that this was going on. I totally missed this. Yeah, that's probably not cool. Not sure what the meaning behind that was for motivation, but they'll probably say, "Oh, we were just paying tribute to Team Canada by having our logo." I'm not buying that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. So now I know what you guys were referring to, and yeah, it's a little questionable. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I did. You know what? Probably, I don't know if I changed the channel before that or not.
Yeah, I never saw. I didn't see that photo. I mean, I didn't see the banner celebration like that at the time. So I'm sure that would have been commented. I would think somebody would have commented on it, and I wonder if TV even kind of framed that out. If it's possible to do, I'm not sure, but definitely interesting. And thank you. That came from Heather Rasham. So thank you, Heather, for that. I think Brett sent the photo. He sent the same photo. Yep. So I got
it for both of them as well.
I will put this up as well, because I like to be fair. I don't want to be taking sides with anybody. And
let's go back. Let's go back to this Duncan Keith thing real quick.
Yeah, let's go. By the way, maybe Duncan might want to visit the barber that you went to and see if he can get a new look for 2021, because it looks like he's saving his retirement money by not getting his haircut. I don't know if you saw. I saw a little video clip of him out on the ice, and it looks like he hasn't seen the barber in a while. Support those local barbers, everybody. Go get a haircut once in a while. Give him that $50.
Well, it's funny because, the swinging of the stick event, if you ever go back and watch that replay, that was not a conscious thought, because when you look at him, he is absolutely pissed off when he swings that stick, and you can see it on his face. There's the red zone, they call it. And that's what it was. That doesn't mean he can't be a leader.
I don't remember the incident. But, if you've taken your modules at some point, they talk about being in that rage situation. So I would assume that would be the category that he was in at the time.
Yeah,
so
it's
you got to talk him off the ledge afterwards.
Well, it's like being a linesman and all of a sudden there's a big fight, and the one guy's nose is totally to the side, and you're like, hey, you broke them up, but they're still trying to get away from you, and all of a sudden they're like, did I win? Oh yeah, you won.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go see the team doctor, though.
Yeah.
You don't need to go to the penalty box.
Yeah.
Why?
And
He'll let you know.
Good. You're looking good. Yeah, you did a great job. I just want to, get you over here because I don't want you to hurt that guy anymore.
No, but it is a thing because some of those guys they're gone, and it's as an official, be careful. And I'm not saying to be careful because they want to hurt you, but just because they are mentally
they're not stable at that point. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not the kind of person that they are 100% of the time, but it's that I think it attributes to fight or flight. Some people have the fight urge, and the other people have the runaway flight urge. So I think that's part of it, and that's, I'm sure, a mental thing. That's I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I know a referee in the NHL, after a player got hit, it was a bad thing for him after the player checked out, and they blame it on a concussion. But that player was also enraged that he got fouled, and so he goes up and takes it out on the NHL linesman that I don't believe has skated a game since.
Wow.
So it's difficult. So, but just so you know, be aware, because just sometimes the engine's running, but there's nobody behind the wheel.
Yeah.
So just figure it out and try to calm them down. And once you get them back to reality, you'll see it real quick that they're there.
Yeah. Once you get them
Mr. Green Mr. Green's heading back to work. I know that not everybody's from Illinois, but Mr. Green is working on something called Alex's Law. If anybody doesn't know what that is, it's a piece of legislation introduced by Mr. Green himself after the tragic passing of his son, and it's a good bill. I've read most of it. It's not super lengthy, but it does have a lot in it. He's got some people that are trying to help pass it, so wish him luck. And I know that I think it's coming up on an anniversary here. He just had it, that he's been trying to get that into law. So, if anybody has any questions about that, you can contact me, Refroom Brad at gmail.com. If you want to help Bill out, he's got some stuff. I think he's always looking for some awareness. So, he's a nice guy. He was our president for IHOA for a long time. So just anything, if somebody wants to support it, let us know. And I know Bill would appreciate that, but big shout out to him because he watches quite a bit.
Great. Appreciate that. And, if you find out some more or get some more information, I'm sure everybody here would be willing to help in any way they can.
Yeah.
All right, so we got a couple things that we were going to talk about today. Man, the time went kind of fast.
The hour went fast.
Brad and I can, we can chit chat for forever. We do this sometimes. The pre-shows, you guys should get on the pre-show because we have some really good conversations before we even get started here. But it's all fun. So we appreciate you guys checking us out and hanging in there because we kind of went off the script today. Not that we have a script,
okay,
but we went off the script a little bit, and especially with the Chicago Stadium thing, because that was funny.
Yeah.
And I skated there twice. I actually skated there back in the 90s. Jocelyn Lemieux was a friend of mine at the time, and he was out injured after Konstantinov had opened up his mouth pretty badly, and he and Steve Conroy were on the injured list, and I skated with them and Conroy for 2 days at the stadium, which was such a thrill. I'll have to tell the story of that sometime because there is a cool story to that. I might as well just tell it now because
just tell the story because I know you told me it.
Yeah, so I'm getting dressed. I'm in the Blackhawks locker room, and I'm getting dressed, and it's just the three of us down there and the equipment manager or whatever. And I'm I think nothing of it. I'm putting the stuff on that I have. Turns out my men's league jersey is a Calgary Flames jersey. And so the equipment manager goes, basically, what the heck are you doing? Wasn't in that nice of terms. And I'm like, what did I do? Like I'm trying to mind my P's and Q's. I'm in the Blackhawks locker room. He goes, you can't wear the enemy jersey in here. He goes, when you're with us, you got to dress like us. So he said, Steve Thomas's uniform is right behind you. You put that on for the next couple of days while you skate with us. So I wore Steve Thomas's uniform, and thought that was pretty cool. You know,
I was
you don't
very
think
blessed.
about it. You just put on what you put on. You know, it's what you got in your bag. I'm getting dressed. I'm going to skate, and it's rat hockey to me.
You know, I was blessed to skate with the Ruck family, and the Rucks have done a lot for the Blackhawks for many, many, many years.
Is that the Bomb Rucks, or is that the
no RUCK?
Okay,
The Ruck family,
so
and
you didn't shorten your name like
no.
they did, apparently. Okay, all right.
No. The grandfather just passed away. He did a lot of stuff for the Hawks for many years, but I still believe if you watch TV, you know, Mr. Ruck is one of the people in the scorekeeper box, and he's done it since I was a kid. So
wow.
30 plus years, and you know,
is that the guy that sits
great
down there
players.
In the penalty box? That, you know, there was a slightly heavier, and not a big guy, but he's slightly heavier, like gray-haired guy. Was that who you're referring to?
Is he in his 60s?
Yeah.
That's more than likely.
Probably is. I mean, he's been in the box forever. Like,
oh,
he's on a penalty. He's serving a penalty, and they'll never let him out of there. Is what it looks like, because he's always in there. You know, so that's probably who it is. Always wondered who that was. Very cool.
So that was I can't remember, but because I think he's been gone quite a few years now. It's coming up on the 5th year anniversary. You know, again, time flies when you're having fun. But I was lucky enough to skate with them, and we got to skate down at the old building, and it was a long time ago. Cool. I was very little. I barely remember it. I won't lie.
Well, we got some other stuff that we're going to cover today, but the time has already blown by, so we're going to save that for next week, because we had a few situations and scenarios we wanted to cover today. So we'll put those together. We've got some guests coming up. Yeah, what's up?
Well, Miss Karen made a comment down here. It was about Alex's Law. So Alex's Law is due to the opiate crisis, and I don't know all the ins and outs, but it has to do, I believe, Mr. Green can correct us somewhere in the comments, and put a link up to people being able to go to one provider and get a prescription for an opiate, but then travel across state lines and get it again from somebody else. I believe that's what it has to do with. It's very difficult. I know I've talked to Bill about it, and you know, I'm not the greatest, and I don't always have the best memory. So, but I'm sure Bill would be able to help you out. Or, you know, it has to do with the gaining of prescriptions, though. I know that, and so just so everybody knows. So it's terrible tragedy, but you know, he's working hard, and I commend him, because without people like him, you know, these things wouldn't be getting done. And, you know, I don't think anybody wants to see anybody tragically go.
Absolutely. So. All right. Well, let's end it on a high note. Congratulations to Team USA, and congratulations to the Turcotte family, and a job well done. We are very proud of you guys. And with that, we will see you guys next Wednesday. Same time, same bat station. That would be noon right here, Chicago time. You know, if you haven't done it yet, go to the YouTube channel and hit the like button, notification button, and of course the subscribe button, so you guys can know exactly what we're doing, and then you can participate, and we'll know who's actually making the comments. We won't have to kind of do the search and dig to figure out who it is, but either way, we appreciate you. So,
well, the learning curve is getting better, Scott, because there are quite a few more people now that are having their name come up for us, which helps out a lot.
That's right.
You know, it's nice. And, you know, it's also kind of interesting, because there's a couple of them when I see a name and I don't know who they are. And it's nice to see. So thank you.
All right, guys. Well, we thank you for, 2020 being part of the show. We're happy that we're into the new year. This is going to be a much bigger and better year for everybody. And so 2021 starts off with a bang, with a Team USA win, a great way to kick it off for everybody. Definitely got the blood flowing for all of us. So, hey, Terry says hello. Hey, guys.
Hey, Terry.
All right. I'll put him up real fast, and we will start to kind of wind things down here. Anything you want to cover before we go, Brad? Any last minutes?
No, I won't lie, though. It was kind of fun, you know, going on a weird tangent about the old Chicago building and stuff like that. You know, we try to stay a little more what we talked about beforehand. But this one, This one went way over
Yeah.
here compared to what we were talking about beforehand.
Yes. So hopefully some people can appreciate what we were talking about. I mean, we got some guys that are over 20 years old watching this show. So, I'm sure they kind of remember the stadium and all that good stuff.
Well, you definitely you got one with me when you said same bat channel because, that's a reference to the old Batman that was on Sunday morning.
Same bat channel. Same bat time, same bat channel. All right.
Wrestling was right. Wasn't wrestling right before that?
Wrestling, yes, with Dick the Bruiser and the Crusher and all those guys. Yes, Baron von Raschke with the claw hold.
You could waste the whole Sunday morning watching just absolutely
there's
nothing.
Another show we can talk about. Okay, man, we'll start the wrestling channel.
All right,
guys.
well,
with that
good
being
to see
said,
you.
thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great week. Get out there and, go to one of those practices. Maybe get a little skate in. And we'll see you soon, okay? Have a good week, everybody. On behalf of my man, Brad Bomrock, and myself, I'm Scott Smokin' Sills. Have a great week, everybody. We will see you back again next Wednesday. Peace out, everybody.